So, on January 27th, 2024, I uploaded a video called Head Collector. This video was a gameplay of a game called SEATER, which is a game made by the same person behind Lethal Company, Zeekers. When I first played this, I wasn't completely sure about it because, to be quite frank, I have not beaten too many games, especially like horror or story-oriented games. But after playing through this whole game and the other two videos on this series, which were Chernobyl Spider and then Hand from Hell, which is partially blocked, I love copyright systems, I realized that I really loved this game. I wouldn't say it's better than Lethal Company, because Lethal Company scratches an itch for me that no other game can scratch. I don't know why. But I really feel like SEATER is a criminally underrated game in Zeeker's catalog, and just in general, it is a game that should get a whole lot more attention. I don't want to confuse this game with The Dead Seat, which is a game about having to survive like some weird demons when, I don't know, your parents die or something driving in a car. I don't know what's wrong with that. And also SEATER, which, to summarize the plot of SEATER, is pretty much you're coming home to tend to a house after a long time because your father is coming back. I'm going to try not to spoil this until later on, but I'll just give a general spoiler warning here, I suppose. You know, even though this game's story is vague and very abstract, I really think it works fantastically. So the game starts off where it tells you have to come back to a house to fix it up because your father is coming home soon. But immediately after you get to the house, it's clear after not too long that things are not, you know, as they seem. It's very out of the ordinary. That being that a weird creature is chasing you around constantly and shutting off the lights. And you keep opening weird, like, hidden spaces in your home to access things and whatnot. Then you go into the basement, which I find is a very creepy part of the game, and there's like blood in the basement, there's body bags, there's these weird microwave creatures that after you see them in the basement will appear everywhere, and I found them very annoying during my playthrough of this game. I feel like they do add some tension that is, you know, overall needed. Other than that, you go and find chests throughout the portion of the game which provides you with things you need to get to certain spots of the game. And eventually, come the very end, the climax of the game is revealed that those creatures who were chasing you around the whole time, yeah, you have a whole warehouse room in your basement full of them, and they are your dead siblings because for whatever reason you've murdered them and wrapped them up. It's a very unsettling twist, at least for me, because like I said, I don't play a whole lot of horror games, and coming from Zeekers, who started off making horror games on Roblox, it was very interesting to see. It was very interesting to see a game of such high quality that was just completely forgotten about, that like barely anyone has heard about and or played, because it's great, really. It's like, I'd say it's pretty much a masterclass of like how to do a conventional horror game, not to mention a game that's free, right? It has a third-person point of view, sort of like the original Resident Evil games. It has good environments, and I would say good storytelling. It also has a feature where you can save in a room pretty much whenever, so long as you can make it up there alive. And, you know, even though I found the whole gimmick of the third-person perspective annoying, especially when running away from, like, creatures and stuff, I feel like eventually I got used to how it worked, right? Now that I think about it, it reminds me of Puppet Combo horror games. Like, they have that third-person point of view, and this game also does, but it has some other gimmicks, such as like Zeeker's art style to also help like prop it up, you know. I think the mechanics of SEATER are very satisfying as like you learn to deal with them, right? Like at first it's kind of annoying and like janky to, you know, run around in the perspective while you're trying to evade a monster, right? But eventually once you learn how it works, oh well, from the second I started playing, it kind of slowly occurred to me that third person made a lot more sense. Besides running away from the monsters, like one mechanic I remember is the lights shut off when you're in a certain room of the basement, and when you turn them back on, that's when I think that's like the first time you encounter the microwave monsters, or as I called them, Chernobyl spiders. And another example is when you're outside, you sort of have to figure out the best possible path to activate as little of them as possible to get around and back inside the house. In the very end of it, after you know, you bring your father's body out of the truck and you bring it back downstairs, and the hand like stretches out and like grabs you. Even though it's kind of out of nowhere, it's a tense ending. It's satisfying enough. I feel like it's definitely a better ending than it could have been, and I feel like I feel like the game in general not elaborating too much on what exactly is going on really is like adds to the strength of it. It like sort of elevates the horror of the game. And overall, I think I would give this game a solid like 8.7 out of 10. Yeah, so I kind of wanted to make a shorter video just because I don't have, or I do have time, but I don't. Motivation is kind of starting to get to a lower point, but you know, I think I'm gonna have an Outlast video out next week.